This is Bird's Eye View, your sailing podcast. Live, Sail, Die have put together what we hope is going to be the most informative and entertaining sailing podcast you have ever heard. I'm Darcy Watergrave. I'm hosting and trying to keep these two roustabouts calmed down. Joey Allen, Barbara Kendall, two of the biggest names in New Zealand sailing. We'll be broadcasting from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron's Crow's Nest, one of the iconic rooms in New Zealand sailing. Lock yourself in. This is going to be fun. Bird's Eye View is sponsored by Andu, New Zealand's home of feel-good living. With free next-day delivery and price match guarantee, feel good about your appliances and furniture with Andu. Welcome into episode 8. This is Bird's Eye View. It's our podcast. And when I say our, I mean Live, Sail, Die, and they've just roped us into doing it. My name is Darcy Watergrave, along with Joey Allen. Look at that, smiling as we wouldn't expect. It's good. And, of course, Barbara Kendall. They are our two panellists. I'm running the whole show, but this is the person we've really come to talk to. His name is Matty Mitchell. Matty, welcome into the podcast. It's great to have you here on board. I trust you're well. And how good is Matty Mitchell?
Can't believe you started with that, Darcy. Not believe you listened to it. It's all good, mate. It's nice to be here. Yep.
Great to have you around. We're going to start things off where we normally start off, where this one here climbs in and starts asking about where it all began. Go for it. Go on, Barbara.
He just asked you. Where it all began? You took my line. Start from the beginning. How did you get into sailing?
Lived up in Tyndall's Bay. The old man was sort of into it, and I was playing rugby league mostly, but I was pretty little and was getting a hiding around sort of 13, 14 and decided to take the sailing a bit more seriously. And it grew from there, really, just dinky sailing out of Manly Sailing Club in Tyndall's Bay. And then...
What kind of dinghies? Like, what boats did you start?
I had the heaviest P class in the world for a while. Yay. Yeah, and used to borrow the neighbour's Optimist, and then got a Starling, and then forayed down to Murray's Bay and started doing some winter series keelboat yachting at the Wade River, which is a local club. And
so what did you do in the junior classes? What did you learn to sail, and what was your first experience of sailing when you jumped into a boat?
My first experience of sailing was sort of a 12-foot carry dinghy. Well, the one that I can remember was a 12-foot carry dinghy at the old man's, and I decided to take it for a hoon by myself. Just pushed it off the beach.
And that's so cool. Really take it for a hoon. I'm going to pinch the old man's ride and disappear.
So I did that, and then...
How old do you reckon you were?
6 or 7.
6 or 7?
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be doing that.
Yay!
So anyway, I did it. Best to just go down to the beach for the day, and then quickly worked out that I didn't really know how to get it back. So that caused a bit of a scene.
And then what happened? Did they come out?
Oh yeah, they came and got me out.
Swimming or rowing? Or
I can't remember how it panned out. I think there was another boat out there that got intel that the kid mind shouldn't be in the just yet.
So were you quite a hyperactive little kid?
So my parents would probably attest to that. Yeah.
Busy?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Mind do your own?
Yep. Yeah. As you know only too well, Barb. Yep. My mum used to say you just need to sit still quite a lot.
Sit down and be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I got that all my life as well.
Yeah.
I ignored them.
Yeah.
Frankly. So when did you get
school quite challenging?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember a moment where you went, actually, hold on, this rocks?
I sort of always enjoyed it. It was sort of when we came in here actually and played City Newton on Victoria Park and got beaten 94-0.
City Newton Bombers.
Yeah. And Matty Mitchell, that was his last game of rugby league because I was still tiny and we were playing in the open grade because we didn't have enough kids, and we were playing these guys that had the moustaches and kids of their own for the under-13s. And then, so that was sort of a bit of a light bulb moment.
Well, I've got to ask, where did you play? Hooker,
fullback.
Halfback, fullback. Away from all the chaos.
For the smallest guy on the last line of defence. So anyway, that was a sort of the watershed really. I said, went home, and the old man had this one rule where you had to finish the sport, had to finish the season. And I got home from that. I said, mate, not this year. I'm not finishing. I'm going yachting, thanks. So that was sort of the turning point, really, yeah. But it was still just an interest. There wasn't really a mad panic to go racing or anything at that point. I was just interested in boats, and then went boat building once I finished school. And it wasn't until I was boat building in about my third year, we had a couple of the guys, Nick Heron, who we sailed with a bit with Joey and came back from the 92 event, I think. Was it 92? Yeah. And we're working at the boat shed that I was at, and I sort of, the penny dropped then, I wonder if I should ever go at that. Yeah. And so I sort of had my focus on boat building up to that point, and that was when sort of sitting there, open my eyes a bit, and maybe I'll go and have a go at that. So we did. Yeah.
So did you race P classes or starlings, or you just?
Starlings a bit. I didn't race it. I only raced the P's at Manly, sort of just local club.
Was there many boats at Manly?
No, it was always sort of a mixed.
Gravel road, just about.
Just about, yeah. It was a pretty mixed fleet sort of a thing, but that was all right. It was fine. I was happy tootling around it. Then I sort of once I'd got serious about it in my later teens, I took the Starling down to Murray's Bay and then started skiff yachting at about the same time as I did the keelboat stuff as well. I quite enjoyed that.
What skiffs? What kind of skiff?
They had a class. I started on javelins, and then they had a class called the New Zealand 14s, which is probably where I first met Joe, actually. Yeah, which was quite a cool class for a while for young fellas to bang around.
They were awesome boats.
Yeah, they were good. Yeah, yeah. We went.
Do we have those still?
No.
They're an international. They're just called international 14s now, but there's none here. So we went to a Worlds in San Fran and did all that sort of thing.
That was a fantastic regatta.
Yeah, it was good.
I didn't do it. I watched it, but it
was really.
The Kiwis went well, right?
I saw with Graham Burke, actually. Yeah. Yep. Won a race at the Worlds. That was quite good. He ended up 7th overall.
What was he like when you first met him?
Similar to now, actually. He's been pretty consistent. We're probably all mellowed out of it, eh, Joe?
Or you needed to. So
not so much blood going down the shower tray in the morning.
Exactly. And I mean, we could go on for hours about the touch rugby, but we won't even go there.
No. Needless to say, there was some Team New Zealand training.
I have
quite energetic.
I have vivid memories of you at Cookson's. Was that with Yamaha?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. So I did most of my time at a wooden boat yard in Browns Bay, and then had an inevitable shootout with the boss because I was a hothead, and so was he, and he was the boss. So,
was it fisticuffs or just mouths?
No. It was just a solid chat, and so I didn't have long to go, like 6 months to go. So I went and finished my time at Cooks and Boats, and it was good actually. So we built the Yamaha, and these guys went and won the around the world race, and yeah, it was a good experience. It was cool. Yeah. Did you just build the boat, or you didn't sail in it? No, just built the boat at Cooks.
You were young, Matty.
Yeah, I was. How old was I? My 19, something like that at that point. Yeah, around 19. I think when I go to Aussie, around 21 was when I went to Australia. Yeah,
so hang on, you went to Aussie. Why?
Well, I sort of the keelboat yachting was going well. I sort of decided I wanted to be a bowman, and that was going well. And I was
bad mistake right there.
Very wet, very wet undies for a long time.
Was that out of fear? And you? Oh no.
No, unfortunately, in that phase of life, there's not much of that around. I was sailing with a guy on a boat called Acclaim in here, actually, with Bevan Woolley, bit of an old legend, and a really cool crew. They taught me lots. That was sort of my youth scheme, actually, was sailing with Bevan. And one of the guys that sailed with him was sailing with Dixon in the match racing. And so I did a Steinlager Logan, did a bowman. I did a Steinlager Logan here, was my first grade 1.
Was that the one where he sailed inside the breakwater?
Yep. Yeah,
that was
so I'm peeling the sticker off the MRX. It said, "Do not hoist sails and sails this yacht," inside the marina with a screwdriver as we're coming up here, and we pop out the top. I think we're against Ed Beard or someone. Got out of the current, and anyway, went around ahead, won the race, and they gave us redress, which was quite good. And then we promptly lost, so karma was in play. But yeah, and so then after that, and that was around the time I was in that. Nearing the end of my boat building, and went, shit, I want to go and have a go at this America's Cup thing, and so I went and saw Dixon shortly after, because he was about to do the Tag Heuer stuff. Said, I'm pretty keen to do the Cup, and he goes, oh good, have you got some money? And I said, no, currently. He said, oh well, what do you want to do? I said, I'm thinking about going to Aussie, because I knew what the nationality rules were, and he said, go on for your boot. So I just went to Aussie and started working in the boatyard there at McConaughey's, and sort of worked my way into it from there. Yeah.
So as far as sympathy for sailing, how important was boat building as far as understanding what went on and how that actually operated from that side of things? Helpful?
really helpful for the America's Cup stuff because, in our day, you generally needed a secondary role. You couldn't just turn up and be some rock star yachty. You had to contribute to the team in other ways. So if you could, work on the boat, help the shore crew out a bit on the days off and stuff like that, it's pretty helpful. Yeah, so it was good. It's good. Yeah.
But Matty, you ended up, you were solidly involved in the sailing team, the Aussies.
Oh, yeah. No, I got employed in the end. Yeah, I got employed as a sailing. I applied once the boats were built. I applied to be in their sailing team. Yeah, and that's when I got my first sailing contract. Yeah, so I was a bowman, but I was a reserve bowman behind a couple of legends, Al Smith and Don McCracken actually. So I was
in good company there.
Yeah, it was good. It worked out really good. Yeah, I did 13 races in that 90. What year was it?
95.
95 America's Cup. Yeah, so I was pretty lucky. Yeah, it was good for a young fella. I think I was 21 or 22 then.
Hey, very quickly, tell us about the day the boat sunk.
I wasn't on board. I was at the beach. I was a boat captain of the other boat at the time.
What boat's this? Just so for people know.
America's Cup.
Oh, okay.
New Zealand versus Australia. And the Aussie boys, the boat broke.
Okay.
So the day was real foggy. I was just shipping away I was the boat captain of the spare boat, 31 I think it was, and I was doing something on that, and it was a real foggy day, so it was quite hard to watch on telly, so I wasn't sort of bothering. And then Guthrie came out and said, the boys have got a bit of an issue, mate. You might have to go and give them a hand. And then it all went from there. It turned into a full court press to get the boat that I was looking after ready to go racing again. Yeah.
We're joined by Matty Mitchell here on Live, Sail, Die podcast. It's Bird's Eye View and do Feel Good. Always engaged in this, which is great to have on board. But we keep changing tack. We really do.
That's okay.
So you just have to deal with this. But
yeah.
If you're anything like you've been describing, I've been told you're fine with this, you can deal with it. Why the sewer? Why did you end up in that?
It was sort of I don't know if it was a natural progression, but there's a few bowmen in the world that think they're a bit too good to be in the sewer, and I wasn't one of them. Joe will agree. And I wasn't one of them. I was happy just to get in and do a job. I wasn't that phased about where I had to be. I just wanted to do it and do it well. And so it was sort of a role that I'd worked out how to do. I was reasonably good at planning, I guess, like you'd have to be, and happy to get dirty and wet. Yeah. So I just ended up there. I don't know. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Yeah.
You've been involved in so many America's Cups, so many campaigns, five or six.
Yeah.
Success in 3 of them.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Talk us through. Talk us about the first one. Tell us about the first time, and I suppose what lit you up about that, because once you're in, it's hard to get out, plainly. So what was it? What was the thrill? Because before you were referencing your sailing, and I noticed that you didn't say, I had this desire to win. You didn't have that burning passion to win. You kind of got into it and started enjoying it.
Yeah.
So when did that turn up?
It didn't. It was never. It's a funny thing that people talk about being competitive, but I've always found the most competitive people in the world never talk about being competitive. They just are. It was never really, well, I have to win. It's just how good can I get at this thing that I do? And if everyone does that, then sometimes good things happen, really. So it was a what if. I guess one of my life's mantras is let's not have any what ifs. And my what if towards the end of my boat building was how good can I be being a pro sailor? And so it was just about having a go. And obviously naturally there's a drive that was there that was helpful, but it was never it was never something I got up in the morning and thought about very much.
Hey Matty, we had an amazing summer, 2000, both in the same position.
Yeah.
It was a summer with a lot of nor'easter, a lot of big sea state.
Yeah.
And we were developing the jib locks.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah. And what happened was, every big yacht has this jib lock now, and they should thank Matty Mitchell every time they put a jib on the lock for developing this thing. But we did a summer where we would beat up wind, and we'd go to the top mark, and Matty and I would go up our rigs, 100-foot rigs, take the jib off the lock at the top of the mast, then drop to the ground, do our mid-bow work downwind, and then at the bottom mark we'd go up and we'd put it on the lock. So we were going round the bottom mark
Yeah.
up, and I have vivid memories of Matty when you the first time he went up the mast. He goes, "Man, I've never seen so many sharks." and we'd be going down the run, and Matty'd be going, "Did you see that?" Yeah, we're really close. Look at that shark.
Did you stay up the mast the whole time?
I
Sometimes
still had to do your job.
we'd spend a lot of time up there though.
Yeah.
What was the motion like up there? Because I've just been up a mast and at
It was
anchor.
downwind mostly. I think most.
It was the bottom
downwind
marks, I remember.
Yeah.
The bottom
The
marks.
chats were quite hard, case. Yeah. The other one we used to do to amuse ourselves on some of those horrible wet days. I mean, testing or testing, and you'll finish with a race or something, and you had to. We had young kids at the time, and you had to sing your nursery rhymes coming into the top mark. So you're sitting on the foredeck and you're going through the kids' nursery rhymes, water going everywhere, poles trying to get off the boat, and you had to sing your nursery rhyme.
Hey,
Yeah.
well, we've got a real bowman here. What's your most horrific sewer story? And I'm going to interrupt you if you get it wrong, because I know the answer to this question.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple of pretty average ones. I think the most marginal one, and it wasn't till afterwards I really thought about it, was when Mike Drummond and the rudder fell out of NZL 38, I think.
30, was it 38 or 32? I think it was 32.
Oh, was it? Anyway, the rudder fell out and fell over and put a big split in the bottom of the boat. And so Drummond and I filled up quite quickly. And used to having sort of knee-deep water at times, but
It was up to the bevel boxes.
it got quite. Anyway, any long story short, we had the spinnaker shoved over the split, and Mike Drummond and I are down below, sort of pushing on the cockpit floor, trying to hold the spinnaker against it, and the boys are putting the blanket round. Crash pumps are going, and it's not really getting any shallow.
During a race?
No, we're coming in
The training.
just inside ring light. Yeah,
Can I tell
yeah,
my
yeah,
version of it?
yeah.
So these two guys are basically at the back, and you pulled the rudder into the boat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that just shows you. Yeah. Look,
Anyway.
look, I was at the front, thinking, in the sewer, water's up to the bevel boxes, so it's getting close.
Are you talking chest deep?
Chest deep. And what was happening is all the sails floating up and blocking the pathway for the guys to get out. And I remember looking up, and there was a sea of faces around the hatch. And guys we could do with a hand, and nobody. The only guy that jumped down was Rob Waddell.
Right, yeah.
And Big Rob jumped down, and just give me the instructions, I'll do it. And he lifted a spinnaker
Full of water.
full of water, just lifted it up and passed it up, and the bag exploded, and the spinnaker fell over on top of it.
Wow.
So these are massive chutes, hey Matty? And these Mike Drummond and Matthew at the back dealing with this hole, and we were yelling at them, are you winning? Are you winning? We're winning. And the message was very clear, we're good, thinking we've got to keep the pathway open for these two guys if they came out that hole. They did have another option.
There's a little navigator's hatch at the back. Drummo, as understated as ever, he goes, I said, I don't know if we're going that well here, mate. He goes, yeah, make sure there's nothing around your feet.
But it was a crazy situation, and the team owes Matty and Mike.
Yeah,
It was one of the more hairy
a
situations.
couple of marks on the little struts for the aft bulkhead, and it's just slowly started turning around, which was quite exciting. Yeah. And the other one that was quite heinous was the day the mast broke in race, whatever it was.
Race one.
Race
Race
3, yeah. Yeah, and I went from standing up to just not standing up, head stuffed in the middle of a chute, going up the beat, yeah. Yeah, there's been some loud bangs.
Yeah, we saw some stuff break back in those days.
Yeah. Chico
Health and
Rapetti.
safety.
Chico Rapetti had a good while we were racing one of those Axe regattas in Sicily and Trapani. Last race, fleet race. Windy. Real windy. To win the regatta, we had to be third, and at some one point we were sixth. But anyway, we were sort of hanging in there. Chico, the boat, had the big strong Italian boat captain has said to me, "Oh, look, there's this crack in this chain plate bulkhead. If it goes past here, you need to tell the boys to stop." And he put a mark and he made me check it. And we're going up the second beat. I thought, I better check Chico's mark, have a look, and it's gone like 20 mil past, We were up to fourth at this point. No way I'm telling them to go stop. So just carry on. And we ended up getting up to third, which was enough to win the regatta, and everything was happy days. And it wasn't until the next day Chico comes down and he goes, "Hey, bro, what about the mark?" I said, "Oh, you went past the mark a bit, Chico." He goes, "Unbelievable. You're supposed to stop the rig fall over." "That's okay, mate. It's all right."
Did you win?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
That then, eh?
Yeah. That was good to hear.
So we can probably talk about your long and involved America's Cup career, and you keep on going from boat to boat, from nation to nation.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It's quite extraordinary.
Yeah,
So
bounced around a bit.
yeah, you did bounce around a bit, but once I suppose the rock star lifestyle of a guy stuck in the sea when it comes to once that goes, and then you start engaging in something that's really, really important to you, really passionate about, and that's the Zephyrs. This is something that is really...
Yeah, the Zephyrs were kind of cool. I was a little bit... it took me a while to get into it. We were living up at Manly and the boys were there from time to time, and it takes you a while to sort of, once you finish your sailing, to dry out, start to work out what you're doing, and I had a few years away from it, to be honest, but then going back to it, I wouldn't mind going for a sail again, and you go full circle, I guess. You end up back with your dinghy in Manly, and so it was pretty natural to...
So you got a very serious yachting addiction.
Potentially, yeah.
Like it's been
It's quite cool.
a good addiction.
Yeah, it's quite cool, yeah.
understated, mate. That's quite good.
Do you remember the three? I remember you in a 3.7 race at Manly following Bisho. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And Bisho broke his boom.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's trying to windsurf the 3.7. Remember that? And you and I just crying with laughter.
Yeah. No, it's been good. It was good. I was lucky to be able to make a career out of it. That was good. Yeah, I'm not particularly good at the offshore stuff. My attention span is not sort of great, not long. So I was lucky the Cup came along and sort of suited me at the time. I could make a living out of going sailing for sort of 6 hours a day rather than what these guys did going around the world. So
you never did round the world?
No. My longest races were the Fastnet and the Hobart, which I hated all. So.
Right. At least you knew what you liked and what you didn't.
Yeah. So, no, it was cool. It was a good career. It was a really cool career, yeah.
So, could I say mercenary because of the way you went around and you're involved with a whole lot of different campaigns? What was the drive there? Why did because you lost, you won, you lost, it was all over.
Yeah. Well, I ended up with a Defender quite a lot, which is kind of cool because it's the strongest team. So that was kind of cool. I was sort of mercenary and sort of, 2003, we turned down a lot of money to stay in Team New Zealand. And it was good for my career, that campaign, no doubt, because we learnt so much and grew a lot. But after turning down the money, you sit and you have the result like we did, where we didn't win, and it was all a bit tough. I just sort of didn't want to go back to it at that point, but realised I didn't have any other option. And you tend to get a bit more I'm just going to do what's best for my family and fuck everyone else, basically. So that's what I did.
Yeah. Satisfied with that? No regrets?
Totally satisfied, yeah, because everyone else should do the same thing. Yeah.
Look after number one. And the people that surround you. Number one, which is yours. Yeah, that's the one.
There's 4 of them in there as well. Yeah, I didn't do it by myself. There's 4 of us here. So no, I have no regrets at all. And the Team New Zealand stuff, not everyone can work for Team New Zealand. There's a lot of good pro sailors in New Zealand, and not everyone could work for... I was never going to fit in with Dots. I think he was a good fit for the team, but he wasn't going to get on with me. So that's okay. That's all right. That's okay.
Personalities have to be reasonably aligned.
They do with Dots.
Yeah, okay.
It's Grand Dolt they do. With other good teams they don't. That's right. Take them a while to learn that. Yeah, the good teams don't. They manage it instead. But
actually, you need, when you look at research about teams, you need conflict. You need
artistic
debate.
Differences.
You need differences to think outside that box, because if you end up just having people all the same, you're just going to do the same. You're
Yeah.
not going to stretch.
No, you
So yeah, you got to look at
Yeah.
the psychology of a team as you've got to have
That's one
healthy
of
trait. It is actually
It's one of-
challenges the way you think, challenges the way you do.
voice your opinion strongly.
Yeah,
And I've had to get better at that. And I had to get
many occasions where it was very, very valuable.
yeah, but I didn't deliver particularly well, and
Terrible.
terrible delivery. I was happy to put the fibrillite suit on and stand up and make it sing. But the problem with that is it puts management in a difficult position, and there's other ways you can do it, which I've since learned. But
that comes with age.
yeah,
Diplomacy.
but I was also lucky that we had amazing people around me like Brad and Murray Jones and guys like that who just didn't really care. They were just happy.
They could see the real value.
They knew there was only one or two people that could pack a spinnaker better than I could, and that was that. They care about the rest, we'll just manage the rest, thanks.
Mm.
And so that was the difference between those guys managing a team and other people managing.
Was it very, very different? Was it remarkably different when you moved into different campaigns, different boats, different management teams? Was there a constant throughout?
Not that different, really. There's some differences. I mean, I was with, this sort of the good teams is not big differences. The dominant teams is not big differences. No, but the teams that struggle, there's generally a few too many yes men.
But you need those too, because they're the ones who just put the head down and bums
Yeah,
the job, and
Yeah.
they're the ones that ask the questions.
Hey, Matty, our position's virtually extinct,
yeah, completely extinct. Yeah.
which, I look back with just most of my, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, pretty fond memories.
But let's just talk about the bowman role. And it was perfectly suited for your
Yeah,
personality.
yeah,
Angry,
yeah, quite angry,
vicious.
energetic.
Are you describing yourself as well, Joey?
Yeah,
But do you think it's sad?
I don't think it's sad. I feel the only part of me that feels a little bit sympathetic, I guess, is towards the young fellas that are doing it now.
Look.
Because you see lots of these young fellas, the only pathway now is if you're a helmsman, and if you're not a helmsman, then you've got nowhere to go in pro sport. Whereas if you look at what Cole Langford and Slingers and those guys are doing now, they're sitting on a race boat with 2, 3 yachtsmen, 4 yachtsmen, and 8 blokes that ride bikes. And we used to sit on a boat with 16 of the best in the world, and it was just really cool. So I just feel super fortunate. Yeah, I mean, I don't. It is what it is now. I barely watch it, to be honest, because I think they're shitty boats. But they're just, yes, I just feel a bit for the young fellas doing it now. The helmsman's having a great time, and everyone else just hamstering. So it's sort of, what are we watching here? There's probably a place for it in sailing, but I don't think it's the pinnacle of the sport when 80% of the crew can't even sail a boat.
What is? Pinnacle of the sport.
At the moment, the Olympics probably. Yeah, the best in the world are the Olympics. Yeah, for sure.
I suppose it's hands-on, isn't it? Still sitting there with a PlayStation remote.
Dialogue numbers.
And those aren't, those are not sailing boats. They sail, but they're power boats. They can't leave the dock without a shitload of stored energy. So we're not watching just yachting, we're watching a power boat. And so what are we actually looking at here? There's a place for it in sailing and apparent when sailing, there's no question, but it's not the pinnacle of sport. And there's also no question that the helmsmen are the best in the world. They're very, very good, Burling and Slingsby and Ben and those guys are very good, but
Just leaves you a bit cold by the sounds of it.
I don't even watch it, mate. Fucking rubbish.
Awesome.
Which I get in a lot of trouble with my oldest boy because he's been working at Team New Zealand as a mechanical engineer. So he's muzzled me somewhat. So I'll get told off.
You're part of a very long story as the evolution of the craft has continued, and the cup itself, right? You've seen
Yeah, and
back in the day was very different.
That's kind of one of the cool things about it, I guess, is that it's one of the few sports left where if you win it, you get everything and make it how you want it. So you can't, if someone wins it and makes it how they want it, you can't then complain that it's that's how they want it. So that's all right. You have to accept that. I just feel very lucky that, we went through that phase where we had 20 years of very good sailing, like really 5-6 days a week of yachting. We did 7 summers in a row out here, 5 days a week. It was amazing. It was really good.
Is there a moment across all of the campaigns that stands out? One that you'll sit back and, with a rum going, hey, saw that rocked.
Oh, the wins always stand out a little bit. Yeah, getting the chocolates is always quite good. Yeah. But also the times that used to tickle me are the chats about the sharks up the rigs, and I've forgotten about that. That's quite cool. Yeah, it's quite hard.
Remember I keep bringing this up, but the touch rugby.
Yeah, potato cannons. Quite a good episode.
Delambing certain boats that we had some shockers.
Peter Blake telling us off.
Yeah.
Police have been here, boys. I think you need to put potato cannon on.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another chapter.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about the potato cannon. You can't just say that's another chapter.
That cannon would lead into, I think you need to tell a story about the Great Columbia and the sunset cannons. This is actually really good because we've cruised with Matty a little bit in the mighty Columbia.
Oh, you got a real cannon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You woke your Williams up. He was arc with you. He got a fright.
For a deaf guy, it was quite impressive.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's quite deaf. He's quite deaf.
So you got to tell a story, Matty, about your cannons, starting with the potatoes, ending in that, and that might be a good way to end talking about the cannons and on the sunset and waking up the bays.
Yeah. So, making things go bang is fun. So, we had the potato cannon stuff through Team New Zealand, which we did a little bit for entertainment because we were sailing here so much.
And get rid of the spies.
Yeah, or the weather boys that we weren't advocates of and things like that. So anyway, things that go bang are good. So we ended up importing this Winchester cannon for cruising, Yeah, it just fires a little shot, or quite a big shotgun blank. You have to import them from the States, and spill everyone's gin at night. It's good. Lower the colours, Yeah, it's good.
Oh, he doesn't understand.
I got no idea.
So it's like a little cannon that
makes a hell of a bang.
It weighs quite a lot.
Yeah.
He puts it up on the back of the boat.
Yeah.
And then there's
So at sunset,
ceremony.
fire your cannon.
Ceremony goes around.
Oh, the colours.
Lower your flag.
Over your flags.
Always learning. You see, always learning. Not too old to learn.
Yeah.
So where did the potato come from?
The potato was just
A smaller version.
entertainment.
Entertain one, but this cannon when it goes off, how little the blanks are, makes a
Right.
hell of a noise in the bay. Like the whole bay goes, oh my god, what's happening? Well, it's just exploded.
Gas balls.
Yeah, and then sometimes if you're really lucky, because everyone gets really excited, Matty will let off 2
Yeah.
just for good measure.
Depending on the
They-
response of the.
Yeah, the audience.
Yeah, that's right.
You mentioned noises before on yachts, things snapping and cracking. So that's the worst sound, is it?
The cannons.
Yeah.
Cannon's quite loud. Yeah, it is quite loud. Yeah, I got a good case of tinnitus now, and it's partially to blame for that. Yeah. Get it caught out. Yeah.
If I say the Menace, Melges, what do you say to that?
Wonderful boat, the Menace. Melges 40 especially, but man, tricky to sail. Yeah, very cool boat. Oh, just real. They're almost they should be a fully pro boat, and you tend to sail them with amateurs and club yachties, and they're just a bit wicked up for that. They're basically a boat that was designed in the Med that we took sailing in Auckland, and we learned a few lessons with that, yeah. And a lot of moving parts. There's bloody boards that go up and down and canting.
Complicated.
Big sails, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool, very fast.
Yeah.
Hard to sail, yeah.
With the Zephyr, are you involved much in youth sailing and the development? Jeff, I mentioned that you feel sorry to a degree for some of these kids coming through. You think there's a future? Are you happy with where it's aimed at the moment?
The Zephyr's sort of not, the demographic generally is a bit older, but there's some clubs doing a really good job. We have a family trophy at each Nationals, and the Wellington especially, because they can store their boats at the club, have quite a few kids.
Well, they've got a big fleet in Wellington, haven't
Big fleet, yes.
It's growing, right?
Yeah, it's going all right. Yeah, we've sold 17 all-glass boats in the last 3 years. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, it's going good. Yeah, but I guess the Zephyr class itself, we do what we can for those youngsters that want to. We have cheap fees and all that sort of stuff that want to come sailing. For sure, we encourage them, but they tend to look at it as a sort of older bloke's boat to go yachting.
Why?
Ship's boat. Oh,
because they don't foil.
yeah.
Slow.
Yeah, they're a bit
you have
slow.
to
They're a bit slow.
There's some good men.
They're hard. They're hard to win.
Good men in that fleet, like
To win.
Jomo and
Yeah, it's good.
the doctor,
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, it's got a bit harder of late actually. Yeah,
Did you compete in this year's national?
No, not this year. No, I was down in Akaraa and I was a bit crook, so I
Right.
stand down from that one, yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't mentioned wings. I could kiss you.
No,
Wings,
I've been trying. Every time I see him,
my cup of tea.
Oh, this is it. Every other guest we've had on, bang, someone says wing. I could see that.
So I guess going to answer your question a little bit about that is when I first used to go, I just used to go sailing in Tyndall's Bay for shits and giggles because it was cool, and that contact of the hull and the water and the whole thing working together, that's it. And we did the AC-72s in San Fran, and it was kind of cool to do 100 kilometres an hour on the water, but first of all, it's bloody dangerous, and secondly, it's just not really my cup of tea. I prefer the boat touching the water and doing its thing, feeling the waves,
Joy of it.
and the planing and all that. I love that, and the foiling, the thing just gets up in the air and sits there quietly and nothing happens. It's,
you just go fast.
yeah,
This
just go fast. The apparent wind sailing, whether it's the America's Cup or GP or whatever, the platforms don't really matter. It's just apparent wind yachting, right? So the breeze is always in front of you, and essentially nothing happens. We used to go around the top mark and shoot the sails on about 20 mil and go downwind. Like they don't change the sails. Nothing happened.
Well, you talk about the hands-on, and that's something you really, really enjoy.
The only thing you put your hands on is a pedestal. Right. There's nothing happens. I've been on a jet ski. I used to liken it to being on a jet ski. And it's fun for about 10 minutes, and then you go, what are we going to do?
You should try a pole ski at the river mouth in these waves. Give you excitement, mate. So the essence of sailing, this is what attracts you to it. This is what
I like this. I like the boat's hull in the water and the way it acts and how you make it, go better through the waves and the water. The winging's not my thing. I get that it's popular. It's all good. It's just not my cup of tea.
Running up the Sky Tower.
Yeah, twice.
Oh, no.
Slyfield.
Mm.
What a dick.
But you helped. You got the record. I wonder if you still got that record.
I don't know. We did it for training one day. It was, because we trained at Les Mills, we jog up there, warm up the hill. He goes, okay, run up the tower. Okay, run up the tower. He's waiting at the top, he's been in the lift, isn't he? He's waiting at the top. You know what would be cool? What's that, Sly? Go do it again.
Twice.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we all had sports-induced asthma for about 3 days. Cause
The concrete.
problem when you do it the second time is you're running through this tower of concrete
Dust. Yeah.
Matty, you were the fittest, right?
Yeah, I was fit for a while.
He was I'm sure he'd go just fine against these
Yeah.
guys.
One of my highlights was beating Mark Ellis over the Harbour Bridge. That was quite cool. Yeah. When they first opened the Harbour Bridge run, we had a race over it. Yeah.
Best moment in sailing. You talked about getting the chocolates and winning, but right across, being America's Cup, being Zephyr, being whatever class it was.
I actually reckon and this, I don't know if it's going to sound strange or not, but I sailed with a guy, John Williams, who's a very cool man, owned a boat called the Ranger, a J class, like a big sort of 180 ton, very cool boat, and we sailed with him a lot. And I retired in 2019 on the Ranger in Newport, and we got third in the J class world, so he was over the moon because we weren't supposed to be there. And I sort of retired real content, and actually my retirement was sort of the highlight because I never thought I'd be able to retire content, and I certainly was. I could say you have this tradition where you have a harness and you cut it up with your knife, and that's the end of that. And that's probably the coolest thing, was to be able to get to the end of a 23-4 year career and retire content. Yeah.
But I was with you.
Yeah.
And for a bowman, it doesn't get more challenging
No.
than that particular class.
Oh, the J class.
Like you're so close to death.
It's scary. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I retired too, actually, because while your experience is going up, your risk profile is going down. It's something you used to go looking for. You're not necessarily looking for anymore. So,
So the new generation coming through, keep away from J class. What would be your advice when you're looking at kids, whippersnappers, nippers that want to run away from rugby league?
my advice is just go, whatever question you've got, just go and find out the answer. How good can I be at something? Go find out. Go do it. And you might be surprised. I sort of was. There's lots of kids better at sailing than me, but yeah, it sort of worked out. Yeah, go find out the answer.
What a fascinating chat. We're going to wind things up now, and we'd like to thank you so much for joining us. Barbara Kendall, Joey Allen, of course. This is Andu Feel Good, and thanks very much for your association with us. Live, Sail, Die. This is the Bird's Eye View podcast coming to you from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. I suppose the question here now to finish things off, how good is Matty Mitchell, eh? How good?
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
You're such a dick.